Hey guys, what's up? I'm Satvik and this is my first video on YouTube. This video is going to be a little breakdown of how I created this poster using only a single technique and it went from this, just in Photoshop. Since I have been a fan of classical music, I decided to watch the Bandish Bandits series. After watching the whole season 1, I saw the trailer of season 2 and it struck me with an idea of creating a poster for Bandish Bandits to show my love for the series and for classical music. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Now, back into the magical world of Photoshop and make a retro poster, so I decided to give it a tint of yellow to give that paper kinda look to the poster. I simply dropped a screenshot of Radhe and then comes the most fun part of the poster, creating the half-tone texture for the subject. So here's one small tutorial on how I created the half-tone effect in Photoshop. Now back into Photoshop, I got this image of a Buzz Lightyear and I removed its background and then I changed the background color to something very bright to create a good contrast. Once that is done, I simply added in a threshold adjustment layer, clipped it to the subject and made some changes. Once this is done, just add in the texture layer between the threshold layer and the subject layer and it will automatically get clipped to the subject and now see the magic. Now if you are happy with this, you can skip this step or you can take it further by adding a levels adjustment layer or a curves adjustment layer and make some more changes to it. Once that is done, to add color to this effect, simply add in a hue and saturation adjustment layer on top of every layer. Check the colorize checkbox and then adjust the hue, saturation and lightness accordingly. If you take the lightness slider on the right, it would affect the dark areas of the subject, and if you take the lightness slider over the left, it would affect the lighter areas of the subject. And now here's the before and after. So now back into the poster, I simply repeated all the steps to create the halftone effect and it went from this to basically this. So I used this technique to create halftone effect to all of the subjects in my poster. Of course, Tamanna and Radhe are incomplete without their respective bands, so I simply dropped in an image of their bands and again applied the halftone effect to all of them. But this time I kept the colors a little bit darker to create a depth between the foreground and the background layers. To add some key components in the background, I decided to add an electric guitar on the Tamanna side and Veena on the Radhe's side. And here too, I applied the halftone effect. Now I simply added in all the main characters which were in the focus in the season 2 and I placed them accordingly in the poster. Once after adding all the characters to the poster, I simply repeated all the steps to create the halftone effect. So the background feels a little bit empty. So fix it. So I simply added some freely moving musical notes to the Tamanna side and on the Radhe side I added the main swaras of the Hindustani classical music and again I applied the halftone texture effect. Now to create depth of field between all the subjects in the poster, I simply selected all the layers which are affecting the subjects, made a group out of them, and then converted them into a smart object. And then, using just a layer mask and a soft round brush, I painted in the areas to make them blend more to the background. Since the main poster is done, I simply added in the title of the series, Bandish Bandits. I kept the colors accordingly to create a well-balanced equation between the blue and the orange side. Lastly, I added in the season 2 text in the lower bottom of the poster in the center.
Wait a minute!
So, the subjects are not blending in with the background. Since the subjects contain only two colors, the one which we applied to the subject, that is either orange or blue, and the second color is white. So to fix it, I simply added in a solid color adjustment layer, changed its blending mode to darken, and see the magic. The darken blending mode will basically remove all the whites from the poster, thus making all the subjects blend in with the background mode. Now to give it the paper look, I basically added in one texture from Design Syndrome again and then applied a noise texture over the poster. Now comes the final part of the poster. I simply created an empty new layer and then by pressing Ctrl Shift Alt T, it creates a merged version of all the currently visible layers. So after doing this, I converted that layer into a smart object and applied the final camera raw filter and made some changes into it, and here's the final result. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Hit the like and subscribe button to stay notified about my next video. You can also follow me on my Instagram where I'm creating and posting my posters and photographs. So make sure to check that out. And I will see you again very soon. Till then, bye bye.